Hey everyone, this is DJ,
And this is Ish.
and this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
All right, mi gente, welcome back. Oh, that was a great sound to catch on
Sick.
audio.
That's
Love
how you,
it.
That's how you start the podcast.
That's how you start every damn episode. So as we mentioned, we are here, or rather I am here, because it's just solo. I'm here with the owners of, and this is not to blow smoke up y'all's ass,
Thank you.
our favorite sandwich shop in Miami
Thank
that
you.
we talk about way too much as it is, Sanguich. We're here with Danny and Rosa.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, as I realize that I don't know your last names. And that's why,
That's okay.
to me, you're just Danny and Rosa from Sandwich. That's
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need
your
to know.
last name might as well be from Sandwich.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, we just may have just like we may change our last names, just Danny Sandwich and Rosa Sandwich.
Oh, I think
Well,
so. And
we'll
our
do that.
children. That'll be a little much.
Yeah, London Sandwich doesn't really go. Yeah, no.
London Sandwich?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
No. They already have a London Bridge.
Yeah,
That's, I think that's
That would
enough.
go well.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for joining us and also for inviting us here to your beautiful home.
Thank you.
So pretty. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Anybody who's listened to our show at any point over the last 4 years knows how much we freaking love Sandwich.
Thank you.
Anybody who's even casually gone to our Instagram knows how much weight I have gained thanks to Sandwich.
Hey. Don't
You and
blame
I- you
us
and I-
for that.
You and I both.
Listen, those Cuban nachos. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't say it to blow smoke. I say it genuinely. You guys have really done something great for the community, in my opinion. You've taken something that is so basic as the Cuban sandwich, right? I mean, like, we're all
Sure.
three of us grew up in Miami, Cuban American. Cuban sandwich is the most, like, quote unquote, basic Miami asset, right? How did all of this start? I mean, at what point did you guys just kind of look at each other and be like, we are going to make a Cuban sandwich that's going to make people talk in the city that already has umpteen of them?
You know, it all started. It's a funny story because I think.
It started
When you-
a 500 square foot little apartment in Coral Gables.
Yeah, I mean, everything starts at a humble beginning. It starts there's a point in your life where you say, okay, I'm fucking done doing what I'm doing, and I want to do something different. And so, for me, you know, with my background, it's just I took some time before Rose and I met, and I was in a completely different field, and I'd invite my friends over to every Friday, 1:00. We were called the Bastards, right? We had the Bastards lunch. This is a true story, and we were part of a smoking club. I'm a Padron smoker, so smoke cigars. So
I felt the need to clarify.
yeah,
that.
that's
yeah.
I smoke.
Smoker. I don't know.
I smoke cigars.
Okay.
I smoke cigars.
Nothing wrong with any kind of smoking. I'm just saying. I feel because it would have been a different story if it's like, so I was all toked up, and that's when I got really hungry.
Yeah, and I needed a sandwich. Yeah, no, it's the antithesis of that. So my friends used to come over, and it was a cigar smoking, Scotch type of atmosphere, and I'd make them sandwiches, and they encouraged me to open up a sandwich shop. But let me reiterate, I was in a completely different field, in a very lucrative field.
Marketing.
I was
right?
in marketing. I had my own fashion collection. It was in Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, and Saks Fifth Avenue, amongst others. And I had the luxury of taking a Friday off and enjoying it with my friends.
Right.
These were right before the economic crisis in 2008.
Okay.
So, you know, I've got kind of this creative mind and, you know, engineering mind, and I went to work in the background while I'm flying, and I do this business plan, and I kind of put it away. It's just my way of kind of exerting some of that energy.
Right.
Like someone just piqued my curiosity, and I literally put it away. And then you go through these cycles of life, and I meet Rosa. And when I meet Rosa, I was kind of in the dumps. I was really in the dumps.
Yes.
The economic crisis really, it really took a toll on me. It was wiped me clean of all of my wealth, and I was living in my sister's house, sleeping on a couch for 3 months. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And it was a turning point, right? I meet Rosa, and she's kind of going through also a transition. And when I meet her, we decide to
Start a family and a life together.
pretty much start a family. Like,
We were no BS from the beginning.
So you knew what was what with if. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there was
Our
no, well, listen, I mean, I was well in my mid 30s, and for me, it was no bullshit.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
I'm not 20. I'm not looking for like a good night's sleep. I'm looking for something that I have a different mindset. I need a future. I'm looking for something bigger and brighter. And when I met her, it really was that. It was almost like an interview.
It was our first date.
It was our first date.
Our first date. It really was, but it was fun. But we didn't have any barriers. We asked each other all the hard questions that normally you don't want to ask, or I think that people wait way too long to ask.
That.
We just didn't want to do that at the stage where we were. And our second date, we made sure that we wanted children in each other's future. And from then on, shortly after, we knew we wanted to have a family together.
And that really was like the centerpiece of our relationship. It was like, that's the most important thing that we had our visions of our future were aligned.
Right, you were working towards something that you both
Yeah,
wanted.
but it had nothing to do
Right.
monetarily.
No. But I just mean like in general, you had
In
the
general,
same
like,
goals.
what are the
That's
goals?
it,
Like,
that's it. Right.
listen, I
Life
really
goals.
want to have a family.
Right.
I'm at a point in my life where I want to be able to till the land, right, and have and you know what I mean, right, and enjoy like life in a different dimension.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So like
that
everything,
really was,
and like everything that we've done till now, we set our mind. We said this is what we're gonna do, and 9 months later, I was pregnant.
That's
Oh.
right. And during that transition, right, to answer his question of how did a sandwich start? Sandwich started with an idea that started 7 years before I met her, but it was a completely different concept, right?
Really?
It was
Yes.
it was called Meltwich.
So
Meltwich.
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 And so he comes to me once we knew we wanted to have a family. I believe I was pregnant with London, or shortly before I became pregnant with London.
Right before.
He's like, if we're successful in having a family, I don't want to be traveling. At that point, he was traveling a lot.
I was
Oh,
traveling.
wow.
I was traveling way too much. I was traveling about 200 days a year. It was quite a bit.
Damn.
Yeah, it was quite a
I
bit.
think wrestlers travel less.
Yeah.
Jeez. Damn.
Never really met a wrestler, but I'll take your word for it.
I've only met one. So,
I can maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
So yeah, he's I have this idea that I've had in my back pocket, and so I'm like, okay, give it to me. Let's hear it. And so he.
By the way, I have a lot of ideas, and they don't always stick.
Right.
that
Right.
doesn't surprise me about you though.
Yeah,
I feel that you always have a lot of ideas.
I really do,
you
and
seem
they're
like
not
somebody
all great
who-
ideas.
Like no, but I mean, you don't seem like somebody who's ever not thinking of some
something.
ideas,
It's-
like something.
It
yeah.
keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
It irritates the shit out of my friends, and it certainly irritates her. She's like, "Would you just sleep, please? I can't. I have an idea." And she goes, "That idea sucks. Go to bed."
Very much like what I told him when he told me the idea of Meltwich. I was like,
By the way, by this time I had it trademarked.
Oh, so you were like, this is gonna happen.
No,
In your
no,
head, you're
no,
like, this
for
is gonna
me,
happen at some point.
No, for me, I'm trained differently. I'm corporate.
Ah, okay.
So I'm constantly chasing, if I'm going to do something, and even if I believe in it or not, or other people, I'm always going to protect it.
he immediately
I
protects
have a vault of,
because
Yes.
nobody
ideas.
else is gonna get it.
And,
I got it. Okay.
always.
Danny owns a roster of domains that he's probably never going to use, but
Never.
just in case.
I don't know.
But the day that a squatter comes and wants it,
They
now
said-
you've got leverage.
Listen, they said the same thing about Bitcoin. Now everyone wants to buy it. Right?
Just saying.
Just saying.
He's a smart guy. That's the bottom line here, kids.
So he pitched this idea to me, and I said, it's good. It's good. However, we live in Miami, and we're Cuban. The roster was like, croque madames and croque
They're
monsieurs,
very
more
good.
like
I'm like I can make a
French.
mean croque madame.
okay.
I have no doubt.
I can make a mean croque madame.
He can't, but we're not French.
Yeah, so
Let's leave it to the French. They do a really good job
Oh,
at
I make
it.
my own bechamel sauce, brother. Woo!
I see.
But I
Have you tried our mojo?
Exactly. Exactly.
So he tells me, I says, Miami really needs a really good Cuban sandwich shop. And he's like, you think so? And I'm like, just think about it. Is there anybody that really just focuses on Cuban sandwiches.
No one's-
I mean, yes, you have the places we grew up going to that do a fine, good job of
Yeah,
creating a Cuban sandwich.
We grew up on them.
But right, and but you have La Ropa Vieja, and you have Rabo Encendido, and El Moro, and but nobody really to like hone in and only focus on Cuban sandwiches. And so it left him thinking, of course. I said, just, fruit for thought. You
Right.
should consider.
Which is the worst thing she could ever do.
You should-
Worst thing she could ever, but you have to realize, she's just getting to know me.
Oh, so it's your own fault, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
really to
exactly.
understand. She kind of understands it. Like, listen,
Okay.
kind of a backstory, right?
We're
So-
year one, okay? We're still year
That's
one.
true,
You're
yeah,
getting to
yeah,
know
but
You
each
have to
other.
understand.
You're in
So
the honeymoon
when I
phase,
when
yeah.
I met
Right.
her, so Rosa was in the legal field, but she had her side hustle, and her side hustle was makeup, and she was very, very good at it. And she had this creative idea about this beauty line that she had, and I come from a marketing background, so. She says, it's kind of a stupid idea. I'm like, nothing's stupid, especially in beauty. Like, you can't imagine the stupid ideas that are already in the market and people are making tons of money on, right?
Seriously.
I was like, just show it to me. And she showed me this thing, this drawing.
It was not a drawing. It was like a scribble on a
It
piece
really
of
is.
paper.
It really was. But I didn't judge it for its like, artistic value.
The idea.
I judge it for its idea.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I literally took the idea. I was like, listen, it's a really good idea. And, by that time, I had friends and buyers in certain markets, and I'm like, if we work towards this, we could really build a solid business out of this. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you really think so? I'm like, yeah, like it really had substance. Because if it was shit, I would have told her. I was like, you need to stop.
Right.
Okay, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
So,
But it was
yeah,
solid, so I developed it.
Within 2 weeks, he had a CAD drawing done. I think I
CAD,
cried when I saw
trademarks.
it.
You ran with it.
He did a CAD for it, and then he's like,
CAD.
well, now we're going to go see the lawyer to patent the idea. Because,
I'm telling you, the worst idea you could ever do.
And she's like,
Is
I
tell
just
me.
mentioned it in passing on over a drink.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
and here we
And
are.
here you are in CAD, it's working model, right?
60 days later, I'm meeting with a
With a
patent lawyer,
with a
trademark lawyer,
attorney.
Who's filing everything that needs to be filed to protect this idea that I have.
So she's getting to know, like, at the veracity at which I work, right? If it's a good idea,
Wow.
you speed it up. So we go through this transition, and then it becomes Sanguich.
Right. And then so after I tell him, Cuban sandwich, just put it in his head, Cuban sandwiches, batidos, what could be better? I come home from work every single day for the next 2 weeks, and he's on the computer. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm making the menu. I'm creating the menu. I'm like, for what? For the Cuban sandwich shop you told me about. And he's got spreadsheets and costs and ingredients and
Jesus, man.
Yeah, you build a
it
whole
was
model.
an entire business plan. He had
In like 2
created,
weeks.
In 2 weeks, created an entire business plan. And I'll let you in. The original, we had a little mascot for what is known today.
I
as
still
Sam-
love it. I want to make a pin.
So it wasn't originally called Sandwich. The
Oh, no.
original
Ooh,
idea.
inside scoop here, guys.
Yes, the original idea was República del Pan.
Okay.
Not
Wah, wah.
no,
I was so excited for that name.
wait for it.
Again, going back to great ideas, they're not always great.
They don't always stick. República del Pan. The mascot was a little rooster
Holding a
with-
bread basket. I love it.
Holding a bread basket, yes.
Okay, I'm behind the rooster with the bread basket because
He had a hat?
Well, of
No, no, no.
course, he has to accessorize.
I'm sorry. He looked like that rooster on Cayocho, Bubby.
Duh, he has to accessorize. I mean, like, what? A rooster's just gonna show up without a hat? What's wrong with you?
Oh my god.
I have to say, I'm glad you guys settled on Sanguich because I think what is it, República del Pan.
Yes. Just-
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie,
It falls
as
flat.
as the child of people who fled communism, there's a little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little like militaristic.
I
I,
am a man of a lot of ideas, and I never said they were great.
And,
right.
and it's
That's true.
but here it's funny you pick
But it
up
got
on
you
that.
here.
No, it's funny you pick up on that because he got the idea from a peso, a Cuban peso.
Yeah, you kind of
He
you
saw
want
it.
to really dig, like, okay, historically, how do I brand it? How do I think about the
course.
name? And in that creative process, really incredible things happen because I'm a creative that isn't that egotistical creative, right? There are people that are get easily offended because, oh my God, like I've got like this great idea, and then people tell me it really sucks. And
How
you get like,
dare you? Like I worked on this for 6 months, and it's like I'm so sorry you wasted 6 months of your life.
For me, I'm a creative, but because most of my training took place in a corporate environment that measured that creativity, I was able to silence the ego. Right? You're able to look and say, okay, hold on a second. It's a great idea, but is it marketable? Is it in the right positioning? Does it have the right price point? I'm looking at it from a different lens. So I have this great idea, and she's criticizing it, and I'm not getting offended. I'm like, okay, it's a great idea. I like the mascot, but is it really worth pursuing? And so in that conversation, you know, we have other creatives, and I will always say it. It'll go down in the history books that Sanguich is not named by me. It was named by another creative.
Yes,
and
a very good friend of ours.
A very good friend of ours, and it's incredible when you're able to open yourself up for criticism, for genuine criticism. Right? Beautiful things happen because now you invite people at that frequency to help you develop rather than help you like suppress you. They're lifting you.
They're not just pasándote la mano.
No,
either. Like by just agreeing with you and being like, yeah, it's great,
Yeah,
it's great,
like
it's a great idea, and like, no, it's not. But they're not going to tell you. They're not going to. And again, it's all about being constructive.
Yeah,
there's a way to do it.
It's supportive, not suppressive. Right.
I like that.
And so we're talking to, and his name is Line. He's a creative human being. He runs a successful creative
brand
agency.
company. Yeah.
And we had this conversation, and he was like, "Listen, bro, I think it really sucks. Like, you can't do this." Right?
And he had something that
it was very similar.
And his wife, who's also his business partner, were working on that was very similar. The names were very similar. And he says, you know, it kind of hits a little too close to home. And, you know, I think you should consider another name. And we're like, well, he's like, well, what? I don't know. What do you, like, what? What do you think?
He was,
and
bro,
he's
you
like,
should call it Sanguich. That's
call it Sanguich.
Bobby, it was like,
done.
It was like Moses had parted the seas. And you can see the pearly gates, and you're like, holy shit.
It's right in front of you all along.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And so that really is how the evolution of Sanguich and how Sanguich became Sanguich, right?
Yeah. I mean, I will never forget the first time I encountered you guys was at a Merc on the Mile.
Wow.
Maybe...
You took it back.
3 or 4 years ago?
I'm
2017.
Well, I don't know what year.
Maybe 2017. Yeah, because it was
2 years in a row, 2017 and 18.
It was like right before you guys opened the container. Yeah.
Okay, 2017.
17.
That was
I remember
our second show.
Waiting 40 minutes.
Oh, you're lucky.
I live in the Gable, so clearly I was a little earlier. I was waiting 40 minutes for a pan con lechon.
Yeah, man.
And talking to both of you while we were waiting and talking in line or whatever. And the minute that I heard the name, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know these people and I want them to have so much success based just on the name.
Thank you.
Because it is so like, again, to your point, it's like, it's
relatable.
Duh.
Yes.
Duh. Yeah. We all grew up calling it un sandwich.
Yeah.
You know? And like, honestly, from that moment forward, I was like, I will follow them to the ends of the earth if I have to.
He was follower number 1. We didn't have many, man. We were, and it was back in those days. We're like, man, we really need to like do something with our Instagram, right?
Well, you can't say that anymore. You guys are a force to be reckoned with.
I remember, and all I'm proud to say, all very organic. I will never forget. We did Coconut Grove Art Festival was our first festival, and I think we started the festival with like 200 followers, and that's just like friends and like, oh, please follow me and please follow me, and you want to at that point like follow every high school person even though you've never spoken to them in I don't know how many years because you want them to follow you
and
back.
It's crazy to think that even in the timeline of like social media, like even then it was like Instagram was very infantile.
That was like
that was that was
the infancy.
It really was.
It really was.
It really was.
We're only talking 6 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
And we were so excited. And I remember at the end of Carnival on the Mile, which is when you met us, which is really just 2.5 weeks from one festival to another, we had like 2,000 followers.
2002, I think was exactly the number.
We were ecstatic. We were so happy. We're like, we really have something here.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something you did. Clearly you did. So, I mean, you guys, what I find most fascinating about the story, and obviously we'll get into the sandwich of it all, is, and you touched on it, Danny, whereas you guys had these whole other careers, and you basically, obviously supporting each other, got to the point where you were like, no, we're going to pursue something else. We're going to pursue something that makes us happy. We're going to pursue something that is ours. And I freaking love that. Like, I think that's like the best takeaway of your story, because it's like you very easily could have just kept going down. I mean, yeah, you'd be traveling more than a wrestler, but you know, but you could have kept down that path, you know. And I'm just you know, totally derailing the whole thing just to say, like, I love that part of the story because it's inspirational. You guys are inspiring.
You know, I hear a lot of people talk about the things they want to do, and I am a proponent of doing the things that you're happy doing, and not sacrificing that for the sake of money and a good health insurance policy.
It's very easy to be quote unquote realistic and be like,
you have to understand. You have to understand.
I'm not going to.
You have to understand. I had a 6-figure salary when I met Rosa, and I was able to do things then that I'm kind of still unable to do today, right? And I understood what the value of money, and I understood what the power of self is. And so work is as much a source of dignity as it is a source of income. And so for me, I didn't want to place that value on gaining a salary, because the worst that can happen if this ever did fail, right? And there was a very good chance, another Cuban sandwich shop in Miami is a good chance that I was going to fail. Right. Well, what's the worst that's going to happen? I have to dust my resume off and get another corporate job and get a 6-figure income.
Go back to work.
Actually, it'd probably be a blessing in that case, right?
Get back on LinkedIn and call it a day.
Because I'll have health insurance. I've got exactly. So, I learned what it was to be happy, and put in motion the things that could help you become happy and drive that happiness amongst your family and friends, and you're in a circle, and it worked. Yeah. It worked.
I remember that moment too, where we sat down, and because here we had 2 options, right? Now we have the cosmetic, which I'll say the name,
which I still believe could be a huge success.
Right.
So do I, because she's gorgeous.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
And she doesn't need makeup.
And you see as much as you see the beauty, I see the beauty inside of her, which is different.
Well, that comes out too. But I'm also speaking as somebody who's seen this gorgeous woman on the line at the shop
making a fucking sandwich,
and she's still gorgeous. It's almost insulting how pretty you are, even ahí sudando in the middle of the day. Okay.
That's right.
We're digressing.
That's right.
So here we had the option. He says, we have these 2 really good ideas, and there's rosy cheeks on one hand, and there's Sanguich. And we said, do we go left or do we go right? Do we go left or do we go right? And, to get into the beauty industry is extremely expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
You need a lot of capital to get in. And we said, we could sign up for a festival. Danny came home one day saying, it doesn't have to be a brick and mortar. Let's just get our feet wet and maybe do festivals and join the festival circuit. And we were honest with each other, and we said, I think the most realistic idea is for us to go with Sandwich, and that's what we'll do.
And it really was like speed to market. So
that's true.
And if I was able to test something and see if it works, the least path of resistance would have been Sandwich. The other avenue would have taken me a little longer, because it's testing, it's developing models.
Yeah, there's a lot of chemicals and
then going to a buyer. So the length of time it would have taken. So if Sandwich had failed, I would have easily jumped onto Rosy Cheeks, right? But Rosy Cheeks I would have never done first.
Because the lead time was too long.
Because if Rosy Cheeks would have failed, it would have been a year of our time. Whereas Sandwich would have been months.
Right, 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, let's just try this first. And if it works, great, we'll continue.
Right.
And if we're able to build something successful, then one day we'll probably visit Rosy Chicks.
Yeah. And maybe we will.
Listen, I'm seeing this man's eyes, like, I can see the machine.
I can't wait to share with you
behind
the
his
eyes.
eyes.
I have it in a vault. In a vault.
Oh my god! So I gotta say though, you talk a lot about like happiness, right? And that doing this brings you joy. And I have to say, it really does come across when you walk into your shop. Thank you. There is just, I Actually, I think I told you guys this before, and I think I said it on DM, so I don't know who I was speaking to, but there was literally a day where I just had a completely
You had a shitty day.
shitty. It was you. A shitty day. It was just one of
I
those
remember
days
that.
where it was shitty, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Sanguich and just.
I remember
I'm
that
hungry. I'm just gonna go. I walked out of there so happy. Like it was just you guys made me happy.
Thank
like
you.
not your food, you like the existence of the vibe that's in there. I can't explain it. I can't put it into words other than to say it comes through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the walls. I don't know. It's just
Thank you.
I think that's what we from the beginning, we always knew that we wanted to do something different, aside from the ingredients in the food. But, we've obviously been dining for years, and there was sometimes an atmosphere that for us was missing, right? For your casual dining experience. And I think we knew from the beginning we wanted Sanguich to be different. We wanted to be a place of excitement and joy, and we wanted to create a culture that wasn't commonly experienced in fast casual restaurants, and
right.
QSRs. For us, it was really important to kind of create, along with the food, create the atmosphere. It was about the music that you were listening to, the smell,
Yeah.
the laughter. Sanguich, when it gets packed, we raise the music.
Oh, I know.
On
I've been
purpose.
there.
We want people to kind of almost yell to get,
It's a party. Yeah.
We enjoy that. Sometimes we'll walk in and we haven't reached, if it's like 10:45, 11 o'clock in the morning, we haven't reached that peak hour. And the music is just kind of like mellow, nice and soft. And if it starts to get packed and our playlist is still like on one of those like relaxed Cuban
Morning.
old school
It's in the
songs.
morning,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
around, like,
Un son bien lindo, tranquilo.
song.
Yeah.
crank it up here, and then
Yeah.
we'll definitely crank it up and go a little bit further down on that music list. Because for us, honestly, how we make people feel before they even come in contact with our food is extremely important. For us, we knew that our goal was never to get people through the door that first time. Our goal was to make sure that they kept coming back. And we tell this to our team all the time. Getting them here is great,
Can you
right?
keep
But getting them to return makes all the difference in the world.
There was another chef in Miami that was interviewed and we caught a podcast, and he said something that really struck a chord with me. He said, if I can get my customers back here 3 times a year, I'm a successful restaurant. And I looked over at Rosa, I'm like, our customers come back 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I feel a little seen and judged by that statement,
Right.
sir. Thank you for that. All right.
I'm like, and that is a sense of community. And I'll tell you something, is that I lived in Westfield, New Jersey for many years, and there was a little, it's a chain, right? But it was an independently owned franchise, right? Called Manhattan Bagel, and right there, right on Westfield Avenue, and her name was Caroline. And Caroline, the moment I had a Honda Element, man, back in the day when the Elements were like the shit, right? It was a 4x4. I had the panoramic sunroof, like it was the shit. And I remember, it's almost like she saw my car coming into the driveway, because the moment that I walked in, she said, "Hey, good morning, Danny. How are you? Your poppy seed bagel with
Wow.
bacon and eggs sunny side up is ready with your large hazelnut coffee."
You're ready to go.
Baba, I walked in, and listen, it was back then. It was just 2002, 2003, where I'm paying $11.50 for a fucking bagel and a cup of coffee. That's a lot of money.
Yes, sir.
I did it every day. I did it every day because I remember what it was to be connected with another human being
Yeah.
and being appreciated. And there comes a point in time where money is no longer the object. It becomes a connection where she valued the exchange of energy. She valued the fact that I was giving her $12 for a bagel, poppy seed bagel, extra toasted, with 2 slices of bacon, and just exactly the way I wanted it, with my hazelnut coffee, black, no cream, no sugar.
Yeah.
Like it was.
You weren't a transaction.
I was
You
never.
were a
I
person.
was a person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I was so much of a person that I didn't pay her every day. She kept my tab open.
Oh wow.
So every week, but Friday, Saturday, whenever it was, "Hey,
Wow.
Danny, should I charge you?" "Yeah, charge it all." what was it,
Right,
whatever,
right.
$100. Just go for it, right? But there was that connection with another person that really made a difference for me. And I think that we have failed to recognize someone else's energy into our space, right? We just see them as a number. Oh, another customer coming in and just buying a Cuban sandwich. No, it's quite the opposite. For me, I have to work really fucking hard to make sure I make the best Cuban sandwich so I can give you the energy you're giving me and giving you into a return. I have a responsibility towards it. I have the responsibility towards your name, towards your person, to your family, to your dog. Like, I have a responsibility to that. Yeah. And I think that most restaurateurs fail to understand that they're too busy looking at a plate and tweezers and curating this beautiful thing and not understanding who you're doing it for.
Right.
Really understand. You know, like, this whole plating bullshit for me is, listen, I've traveled all around the world, and I appreciate very high cuisine. I appreciate the work that goes into making something at a very top level. But I think what I appreciate the most is what it really does to me, how you connect with me, right? And I think what we have always set out to do is, despite the fact that we've set out to do something, the best Cuban sandwich, which I personally think we do. I think what we do better than anybody, anywhere, is that we're able to connect with you in a way that nobody can.
I would agree. I wouldn't be sitting here across from you right now if
Thank
that
you.
wasn't true.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
It's that important to us.
Yeah, I think you would definitely have an amazing meal in front of you and it be ruined by bad service. And you can have a mediocre or good meal in front of you and it be absolutely the best meal you've had all month because of the service.
Yeah, no, and it goes a long way because there are times where just look, by virtue of life in itself, everybody has a bad day, on both sides of that service, right?
Of course.
If you know that you go somewhere and you always have a great experience, you know what? You go to that one time and somebody's off or something is out or blah, blah, you're more likely to be like, you know what? Whatever, dude. I'm in a good place anyway. You enjoy the atmosphere that you're in. You mentioned community, and I do want to get to what the initiatives that you guys are working towards to really give back to the community. Sure. But before I do that, I do want to bring up one little anecdote because I love to hear this story. And so you're Mr. Creativity. Yeah. You've got the vision. And that is why you basically put the entire design together for the restaurant.
I did.
With the exception of
the
bathroom.
This thing is gonna haunt me.
Yes, it should.
It's haunting.
It should.
And I want you to share that story because I genuinely love that story.
By the way, it's one of my favorite spaces.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be firmly honest.
So if anybody follows us,
it's my golden throne.
They know that many people take selfies in the bathroom.
Yes, they do.
Well,
a good bathroom, not every bathroom.
No, in our bathroom.
No,
in our bathroom, like, yeah, okay.
Hey, I don't think she's talking about all bathrooms in
Yeah,
general.
No, just talking about the one I designed.
Dropping a Taco Bell and throwing a selfie.
So it's pretty funny because Daniel, like you said, being the creative person that he is, has a background in design and he knows about all the colors and shapes, and he's talked to me about like all these colors. I'm like, oh, what is that? He's like, that's a color. And I'm like, no, it's not.
She's like, I believe you, cerulean is a thing.
Taupe is not a color.
Yeah. He's like, it's a shade of purple and lilac. I'm like, no, it's just purple. I have no idea. Do you see this beige, honey? It's on a little green tone. No. It's beige. No, honey, it's got a green tone under. You're not seeing it. I'm like, you're right. I'm not seeing it. It's freaking beige. But whatever. It's his background, so he's got an eye that I just don't.
Lástima fuera.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm losing my eyesight now. She can't argue with me. I'm beige anymore. It's fucking beige.
Exactly. So I come home one day and he's like, all right, I've got it. Check it out. These are the colors. This is, fast forward. We've already done the shipping container and we're opening up our brick and mortar. I know, so do we.
Me too.
Here we are going into our brick and mortar. And so he's got the tile picked out, the chairs, the colors on the walls. I mean, everything. And he lays it all out, the sconces, everything. And he's like, look at all these details and what do you think? And I'm like, it's nice. Obviously. my comment
You hear
fell
that?
short of what he was
It's
expecting.
nice. You hear the pitch?
I picked up on the uptick. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
He's like, well, what's wrong? I was like, I mean, it's nice, but you have it all planned out. You haven't even asked for my opinion.
Yeah, it was done.
You haven't even consulted with me. Yeah, you're just like, this is what our restaurant's gonna look like. He's like, okay, well, I mean, what would you change? And I sat there for a minute. I'm like, nothing.
Men, if you're listening to this,
Do you suggest they try this? Because I wouldn't. And I don't even have a wife. And I wouldn't
Jesus.
suggest it. So I'm just saying.
So, I was like, I
pause. What do you do
wouldn't.
here?
It's really nice, but it would have been nice, even nicer, had you asked me for my opinion before you picked everything. And so he says, I'll make you a deal. I haven't gotten to the bathrooms. You could design the bathrooms. It'll be all up to you. Go for it. I said, okay.
And by the way, parentheses, you have to understand, bathrooms are really important.
Okay.
It's not like, I'm just not shrugging her off. I'm like, listen to me. Like,
okay.
We spend a lot of time there. Make sure it's
You know
fucking
what?
beautiful.
You know what? I didn't even think about it from that context. I was like,
Yes.
well, of course you want a pretty bathroom. I mean,
No, we want a
but I
pre-
didn't think of it of like important, like the weight of the
Come on,
bathroom.
you want a pretty bathroom, right? Because
Yeah.
we're going to spend 18 hours of our day there.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking about it from your perspective.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
thinking
like-
about it from my perspective. I'm there for like an hour or so,
Yeah, no,
and then
I
I'm
know.
gone, and
But how refreshing isn't it to go into a bathroom where you can actually like touch the handlebar?
Oh, I've taken pictures on that.
Right, or not like kick the door with your foot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I don't
like
feel gross.
Yeah, you don't feel
Yeah.
gross. Like you have to go take a shower after you leave
Yeah,
the
no Silkwood shower afterwards. No.
bathroom. Exactly. Right, so it comes with a great responsibility. And so I said, okay, just take the bathroom.
And
See what you do with it.
and I did, and I took it on. I promised him that my bathrooms were going to be nicer than the rest of the restaurant. And sure enough, it was funny because once I picked the wallpaper and the tile and how I wanted it, and it was all done. And people, when we finally opened our doors for the grand opening, the selfies started to come in the bathroom. I was like, aha! Had you gotten my opinion on the restaurant, maybe.
The selfies would be all
I still stand,
over.
I still stand by the fact that the restaurant is beautiful.
It is.
And we did a great job, and the bathrooms are definitely gorgeous.
It is. And I have to say, when we first went there, my boyfriend came out of the bathroom because he has a bladder the size of like a 90-year-old woman. And he's just like, oh my God, you have to go to the bathroom. It's really pretty. And I was like, okay, well, before I leave, because I'm an adult human who only pees every so often, not like you, I'll go. Yeah.
It is crazy. It is crazy is when you're walking. We work and play, and we do so much there. And when you're hearing the customers like, you gotta go. They're eating their sandwich. Have you been to the bathroom? And I'm thinking, it's still like incredible,
It's
like
fine.
how important a bathroom really is.
That's how a testament to your bathroom that they don't mind talking about the bathroom while they're eating.
While they're eating, and most people
Put that on a billboard
Hello.
somewhere.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, and listen, we have a small restaurant, and we have 2 tables that are close to the bathroom, and most people will never. They're like, I don't want to sit next to the bathroom. Like, I will sit in the bathroom next to the bathroom. I'll sit in the bathroom and eat my Cuban sandwich. I'm totally fine with it.
I forget it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Cuando seat there. I forget it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as I mentioned, you guys you're very community based. I think
Yeah,
that's
we are.
just like number one, and that can take many forms, obviously. And I
course.
think you guys have done all of them. But I know you have a new initiative coming up that really is about. At the bare bones of it, it is giving back in I think every sense of the word. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I think we should talk about the backstory a little bit, right?
Absolutely,
Because I think that this was. So we all have initiatives, right? I think as a community, as a brand, we have certain initiatives that we want to eventually grow into, and one of them was to develop a community outreach program. But you have to realize that we're a Cuban sandwich shop. And we're only 734 square feet, so some of these initiatives are a little bigger than our ability to produce.
For now.
For now. I mean, we have the aspiration of doing things great, and we are working towards that, right? We're building the building blocks of that, the pavement to help us get there, right? But it's a slow and arduous road. But you always have the aspiration of being able to support the community that supported us in this transition, because it hasn't been easy.
Especially last year with COVID, I'm sure.
Yeah, COVID was a silver lining for us. There was definitely its advantages and disadvantages. For us, it was a point of growth. I can't say it was a bad year. it was a year. It was a year of personal growth for us. It was a year to help put things in perspective because Rose and I were working ourselves down to the knuckles.
And I don't think that's really something that we recognized at the moment, right? It was really scary. 2020 was scary for everyone. But in retrospect and looking back, we realize this. We see the silver lining in all of it.
I have a different opinion on that only because I feel like 2008 was such an impactful year for me as a business that I panicked.
Okay.
And with COVID hit, I didn't. I had a real sense of calm. People were flipping out.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, chill the fuck out. Just chill. Like, let's relax. Let's understand. Let's process.
Right.
Let's prepare. And see, we had, I fortunate enough, those experiences have allowed me to prepare more for those moments, right? It helped me prepare financially. It helped me prepare the business. And so when that hit, I was calm. We closed for 6 weeks. We paid all of our employees.
Wow, that's great.
So we were like, let's just relax. Let's see what's happening.
Right.
I think things were moving at such a rapid pace that it didn't allow us to process information. So it gave us 6 weeks of processing. And those 6 weeks of processing, of understanding what's happening worldwide, allowed us to synchronize our personal goals.
Right.
And understand what we need to do to kind of like chill a little bit because we were working 18 hours a day. Every day,
Wow.
7 days a week.
Before-
we were working ourselves to knuckle.
Before,
Not to mention 2 little kids.
yeah,
And raising
So-
2 children.
So you don't have time off, like
No.
at the end of the day, because it's when you're home.
yeah.
It's got to be on them.
Yeah.
I will never forget before COVID, our hours obviously were different. We closed at 9 and at 10 o'clock at night. And I remember those nights where we'd close at 10 o'clock at night. We'd be in there a good 2.5 hours cleaning, right?
Because you got to clean after, yeah.
We have to clean after, pick up. At that point, we were a fairly new business. We were doing everything ourselves. We didn't have the Cintas of the world bringing us, shiny, clean towels every single week.
We were washing our own towels.
And air freshener for the bathroom. We were doing all that ourselves.
Claro.
And I remember Daniel would call me when I was my turn to close, and I'd be leaving the restaurant at 1 o'clock in the morning, exhausted, 1:30 in the morning, tired.
Typically, you're on your feet all day.
All day.
Cuidado.
This is coming in
There
from.
were days that Rosa was walking in the house at 6 o'clock in the morning.
We did have a couple of times when let's say we're running short and we needed to make more pickles or.
No, yeah, because you also have to prep for the next day.
We have to prep
It's again,
for the next day.
it's a mom and pop shop, right?
Correct.
So like, there's nobody to delegate it and be like, I'll pick it up tomorrow.
Right. And we have a great team that's always supported us from the beginning, but there's only so much that you can ask of the people that are helping you through this, right? At some point, you've just got to do it yourself. And so I remember like those gruesome nights where I was exhausted. I'd get home and I'd forget, right? We were washing our own towels, kitchen towels at home in our washer.
Forget them in the car.
I'd forget them
God.
in the car. And the following morning, I'd get up and I'd open the car door,
Oh
and
my
the
God!
stench
It smells like you
would-
stepped in a swamp.
God, it would hit me in the face, and I'm like, I forgot the towels in the back seat.
And then we don't have any towels for the restaurant.
So
we
that's a
have to-
double whammy, really.
So we had to run to Jetro, get new towels. No, it's a.
It was horrible. I will never, right? So this is what we were experiencing when COVID hit, and it really kind of stopped us in our tracks. I'm like, you need to slow down. It was like the universe saying,
Take a breath.
yes, take a deep breath. Let's analyze things. Stay home, tranquilita, for a little while.
We bought a boat. Like, it was great.
We did. It took us 2 hours. We'd have to get up really early to take it out in the marina in the
was
morning.
great.
But nonetheless,
But you were able to go. And
we
relax.
had it.
So I think so. In order to understand why we're doing what we're doing, you have to understand the past,
Absolutely.
right? So here we are. We've put in our 10,000 hours, right? As professionals to be able to develop this brand and to do what is needed to build the brand and to make it the brand that we feel is recognizable right nowadays. And so we feel we have a responsibility to the community that support us even through the ups and downs.
Not gonna lie, I felt very proud watching you two on CNBC.
Thank
Not
you.
gonna lie.
And
Yeah, it's a great
you know, Marcus is a self-made individual.
Yeah, my boy.
He's our friend, and Marcus has been our advisor, has been our acoustic tile right? When we have been moments of despair, and because we all go through it as entrepreneurs. I think that, you know, I have my experiences, but I think he's like 10 years ahead of me.
Yeah,
Right?
he came into our life, I want to say
January
it
of
was
2020, right before COVID.
January 2020,
Wow. Right before.
Right before.
COVID.
And it was total surprise.
Yeah, they reached out to us. They wanted to do a story. They were doing a story, The Street of Dreams, which is a new series he had that came out, and he was going all around the United States, picking like iconic streets in the United States, and what those streets meant to the community where they were. And so he did Calle Ocho, Little Havana, which was amazing. And they reached out to us, said they wanted to do a story. We obviously welcomed it with open arms. And
let's do it.
he came in. What you see with Marcus is what you get. An extremely,
Literally, like what you see on camera is
That's him.
exactly the
That
person
is-
you get right behind the scenes.
it is not a character. It's not. That is who he is.
Okay.
And so talking to him was always very easy. He came, heard our story. Since then, you know, COVID hit. He followed up with us. How are you guys doing?
Really?
He grabbed my
Yes.
phone. He says, "Whenever you need anything, call me." And
Before he
and
left.
we're professionals in a sense where we really measure ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I don't just call. I mean, if I had to pick up the phone and call people, I can.
Right.
But we don't, because we understand that there's a line that you
Right,
can't
yeah,
just
yeah.
cross, right?
Yeah, I'm the
And
same
so
way. Like I sometimes
you
it's
measure
like,
yourself.
I have this person's number, but it's like
Do I want it? Should I use it?
I mean, if
that's
I had to
good.
pick up the phone now, Bobby, I can make a call.
Right,
But I
yeah, but-
don't, because I think that's the power of restraint and the real power of
Right,
power.
right.
And so we meet Marcus, and we've had many opportunities to engage, but we don't, because I think that we feel that Rose and I have the wherewithal to be able to face the challenges that
you guys
are
got
before
this,
us.
bro.
We do. We're good.
It's,
We're good.
yeah,
It's a-
I mean,
it's
it
a
comes
combined
with
effort.
its struggles, but we
does.
believe in ourselves, and we understand that with growth comes struggle, and we're gonna get through it, right? Because from the beginning, if you know our story, it was never easy for us. Even from our shipping container days, it was very difficult. So Marcus came into our life. He followed up with us during COVID. It was asked us how we were doing, which we were taken
Shocked.
back.
That seems to your point of like it's just who he is.
It's
like
just-
that because
yes.
I guess to the average person they see him as like a quote unquote host, right? So
Right.
it's like I can't imagine like. I mean, this is not extremo, but like, you know, Oprah Winfrey just being like picking up a phone and just being like to the average person she's interviewed,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
hey, how you doing?
How you
I know
doing?
COVID's really rough right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not disparaging Oprah because I don't
No,
want
no.
to get canceled,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying like that's wow, you know,
Yes.
like that he just
Yes.
It's a humbling experience.
He felt that.
I'll never
Yes.
forget. I was bathing my kids, and bathing my kids, and Rose is at the restaurant, and we tag team, right? Those are the days we were tag teaming. It was my turn to take care of the kids and feed them and put them to bed and do everything that dad needs to do. And I put my phone down on top of the toilet, because the toilet is right next to the tub. And I'm bathing my child, and I see Marcus calling me. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I got a decision to make. Finish bathing my children or answer this fucking call.
Oh, it's like a
And
Sophie's
I
choice.
swear to
don't
God,
know.
I'm like, Marcus, I gotta call you back. I got 2 girls here. I gotta finish bathing, man, and get them fed. And
Dad duty's priority.
And dad duty's priority. And so that really was kind of like the thing that spindle that just kept
Yeah. So
us in communication. And
COVID happened. He came and Marcus visited us, and he walked in. I'll never forget. And he walked.
but by the way, he's always spontaneous. He always
Yes.
calls.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Jesus Christ! I'm like, Marcus, if you're listening to this, I love you, but Jesus, like, give me a little bit of warning, right? More than 12 hours. He's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I'm at the restaurant. Where would I be?
He's like, great. I'm gonna
He's
go
like, great.
by.
I'll see you in the morning. And I'm thinking like,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna see him.
And Daniel's like, Marcus is coming by. I'm like, he's gonna come eat. Oh my goodness.
Great,
Okay,
cool,
great.
man. Right?
You know,
You're excited.
how
You're excited.
awesome
You
is
know.
it?
Yeah, it's a buddy coming around.
And you have to
right?
realize, as many times as we've spoken to him on the phone, it really was the second time we've met him in person.
Oh, okay.
So it was the second
It's
time we were gonna
different.
see him.
Claro,
It's a
claro.
different. We're building a relationship, and it's
Right.
the second time. Well, yeah, I'm excited. Of course, I'm excited.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. And then all of a sudden,
He walks, and he's like, hey, and right behind him comes A-Rod, and I'm like, hey.
and cameras and shit. I'm like, what is going on? Like, you just said you were gonna visit me. I wanted to make you a Cuban sandwich.
You're getting croquetas ready. He's
Yeah,
got
like,
a
come
camera
on,
crew.
guys. It's-
Yeah.
And so Marcus came into our lives almost at this point. We were talking weekly, every 2 weeks. And so he took a deeper interest in us, and we got to know him as an individual. I mean, shit, I'll never forget when he's like on his elliptical machine calling me, telling me, give me fucking advice, and it was humbling
incredible.
for me.
He really became a mentor.
He did. He became a mentor and a friend. Wow. And then he took a financial interest in our business, and so Rose and I accepted. We said, Marcus, I think if we want to achieve the things we want to achieve, I think let's be honest with ourselves. We do need the financial wherewithal to do it, and we need the proper committee of people to help us get us there, which is a crazy conversation to have with someone who's achieved a certain level of success, right? Yeah. Believing in us and the ability in us.
I remember we'd hang up the phone and Daniel and I would look at each other thinking, did that just happen? Like, we'd have to pinch ourselves, right? Because, we're 3 years young, and we would never, ever.
Really? I'm not lying.
It feels like forever, right?
I feel like y'all have been in my life forever. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Good.
Just 3 years,
I guess,
really?
You're like that cousin. Have you been my cousin for that long?
Yeah, really?
That's
it's
serious.
I guess it's 3 years as a brick and mortar.
Okay,
we did have the festival and shipping container time.
But
so
no,
it's been a little bit longer, but
4 years. Really.
Yeah, but it's
we're gonna
4
celebrate
years
our 3 years anniversary in Calle
at the brick
Ocho.
and mortar, yes.
Yeah, not long.
And it was we'd hang up, and every time we spoke to him, the conversations got better and better, and it was humbling and incredible and emotional
and empowering. I think
empowering.
I think we got out of those conversations not feeling like we need someone else's advice. Mm-hmm. I think he empowered us to believe in ourselves. To do what we always knew all along. Yeah. Was right.
It was kind of made you feel like you weren't crazy.
Yes.
To want to do these things.
Like he looked at us like, yeah, great job. It's a fucking great idea. Like, really? Like,
okay.
I remember asking him like, hey, why me? He goes, because you have the power within yourself to do exactly what I've done all my life. It's simple as that. Just do it. Like you're holding yourself back from greatness.
And a lot of times that's the hardest first step. A lot of people do a lot of this, and to take that first step and just be like, you know what, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it.
Rosa and I took a step,
and
that step led us to basically poverty. We have to understand that Rosa and I were on food stamps.
My girls were on Medicaid.
The girls were on Medicaid. I have never asked my friends for money ever, ever. Even when I had $38 to my name when Rosa met me, and I remember being at the restaurant and the whole thing was demolished, and I'm sitting over a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, and I'm weeping on the floor, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna give my daughter milk tomorrow, and I have to make a call that I've never made, and that's a moment of truth, right? How far are you really willing to go for your happiness? And I think that was a moment for us. It was a moment like, I'm willing to eat fucking dirt.
Yeah, those are our shipping.
And I had 2 kids. Like, and people say, I have kids. I'm like, I had 2 newborns.
Yeah, not even like 15-year-olds.
Yeah, no.
Send off to be
bag
boys.
Go work at McDonald's.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. Like this is like we had 2 newborns. Like short of breastfeeding, we were at that point where like we can't mess this up.
Yeah, we had to shut down the shipping container. The city actually, the city actually.
I'll say it. Stupid city.
Yeah, the city actually.
It's bureaucracy.
They served us with they wanted an order to either confiscate or demolish the structure. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. And I remember 3 days later after receiving that notice, watching, news. It was like that 6:00 news, and they were in front of a crack house that they had gone to court and got it demolished. They got an order to demolish. And I stood there crying, saying, the city is comparing our business to a crack house because they were trying to do the exact same thing to us. And I thought, that's how could you, and so it was a very difficult moment. We had no choice, obviously, than to pack up our things. Yeah. I think that was the first time that we came encounter with giving back to the community. We had all of this food in place, and we wanted obviously not just going to throw it away, and we just don't have enough family and friends to give all that food to. So we said, how can we give back? And we found the Envy Foundation, which is an incredible foundation that focuses on leadership in our youth in our community and bullying and suicide prevention, which is
And what is it? It's envy, like
Envy.
NVEE.
yeah,
NVE.
NVE.
National Voices.
And we paired up with them. We gave up all our food. We asked people to donate. They did, and it went directly to the Envy Foundation. But we packed up. We were home, and I remember day in and day out, Daniel and I would go to the city. We'd talk to all the leaders, the zoning director, the zoning assistant director, the building director. We sat in their offices. What do we have to do? We'd go over.
It was a labyrinth.
We had all of our licenses for the state, and now here we are with the city trying to figure out how do we use this medium? How do two individuals like us use this medium to do something that we really want to do that is harming no one?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm making a Cuban sandwich.
You're making a Cuban sandwich. Like,
Right.
I mean, more benign it can't be.
Right. So we struggled a really, really long time, and Daniel said, I told him we can't do this for much longer. We've left our careers. We don't have any income coming in. That's when we got on food stamps and my girls on Medicaid because we had 2 newborns that obviously would be reckless if we didn't have some sort of health coverage for them. And so we got on Medicaid and we gave ourselves 6 months. Said, if in 6 months we aren't able to open the business again, we will have to go back to work, right? Because at that point, we need to do what's right for our family. But we fought every
It's
single
incredible because
day.
you know the power of that, right? Like, you understand what you have to give up to be able to do that. And I don't think I would ever be happy, right? I could easily pivot, and I hate that fucking word, but you can pivot, and you could easily say I could go back into doing what I was doing and make $200,000 a year. But
do you want to?
But do you want
do
to?
you really want to do
Do
that?
you want to?
Right.
Like, how miserable.
There's so much power in that.
And there is, and I think that was the driving force for us. It was like, yeah, I could do that, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
And we did it. And I'm gonna tell you, it was exhausting because there were moments that it really interfered with how. Listen, we were stressed.
Of course.
We were in moments of despair, but in all of that is that Rose and I have always had a certain level of communication between us that has always kept us level-headed, despite the relationships that sometimes always bring on contentious moments, right? But I think when you go back to those moments, it helps us realize how important it is to give back to the community because of what it's done to us as individuals and what's done to our business.
Huge, as you guys know, because you're tired of seeing my face there. Huge fan of Sanguich, but I do, amongst all the positive, I have to give one little complaint.
Tell me.
Go for it.
Complaint wrapped in a positive.
Let's go. I love the sandwiches.
Because I would hope. I love that you guys did this whole initiative with the vegano.
Yeah.
Pero, and I'm not a vegan. Anybody who knows me or who knows this knows
Listen.
that I'm not even a vegetarian. Okay.
Listen.
It is really good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and that's a high credit from a meat eater, like by the highest order.
Thank you.
Pero you guys never have it.
I know. It's my fault. Guilty. It's completely my fault.
La veces que voy y tengo el
Listen.
coquito of like the day that I'm not going to eat meat and I go there, I'm like, hoy no voy a comer carne, I'm going to be a good boy.
So listen.
Un bien.
Hey, every now and then I just want a vegetable,
So here's
right?
You know, yeah.
It was difficult for us at one point. It's jackfruit, and
It's
our
great is what
local
it is.
market
It's
doesn't
very
have
good.
jackfruit, and
That's
they
true.
definitely don't have it in the volume that we need it to
Sí, hay que
produce.
ya fruit.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay. Yeah, it's just not common. And so it's sold in specialty Asian markets.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so
There's a lot of varieties of jackfruit, right?
Yeah.
So some you get a little darker, or they're cooked too much, or they're
Sí,
too
yeah.
rancid, or they're too slimy. And so we found a product that was very, very good, very high quality, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It was just a disruption. We just couldn't get it. When we finally did get it, then the business kind of like picks up.
And I'll tell you, it is, if you think that marinating lechon or curing ham for 7
Creating
days
jackfruit?
or making your own mustard is difficult, let me tell you about preparing a tasty jackfruit, okay? Because yes, it is bland in flavor, and you can add anything it'll take to it, but you have to, it is a process.
Yeah, and
when
to
I
do it right.
When I tell you I boil this thing twice. Two different, it gets boiled once, it gets drained, gets put in the pot again, it gets boiled once again. Then that second time, I take all the water out, I drain it, and then I literally have to go in with like a towel and like squeeze it so that all the liquid comes out of it. So while I'm cooking it and roasting it with all of that, Sanguich flavor, it doesn't become like watery and like all
and
those
mushy
and mushy, right?
Yeah.
You want it to have like a little bit of bite.
Yeah.
Well, in order to do that, it absorbs all that water when you're boiling it, and so you really
Sounds like
have to
an
go.
on steroids.
It is like your mom where you had like patrapear. She would have the
La
la
fresada.
conchita, la fresada,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
orange one,
yeah.
right? And she would go and then she'd like squeeze the hell out of it, right? And you're like, wow.
That's what I'm picturing you doing now to
That
a poor
is what I
jackfruit.
have to do. So
Exprimiéndolo
listen.
hasta que no pueda más.
It's delicious, but man, it's a mission to make. It's really
But
a
it's
mission.
incredibly delicious.
Well, I was
It
saying,
is,
yeah.
it is.
I was so
As
surprised.
a consumer, I
It's
bow down
wild.
to you. It's wild. It's delicious. Is it un pan con lechon? Of course.
No, it's
like,
not.
It's
No.
not. Like, you know what I mean? But when you eat it, you get the feeling, right? Like, again, I'm not one of these people who's gonna try and trick myself and be like, oh my god, no, yeah, it tastes just like it.
No,
you know,
no,
like,
it doesn't.
It never will.
No,
it never
it's not
will.
supposed
to.
It's, but
Yeah.
tú sabes que la gente
It's-
son como
yeah,
son, you know?
sure.
Yeah, everyone's like, people will always judge it, and we've had a couple comments. It would never be a pan con lechon. How dare you
Well-
use a fruit? I was
No,
like,
we
well,
obviously no, it's not.
it
Yeah.
comes at an expense where we have exposed ourselves to such a larger group of people.
Exactly.
And I know plenty of vegetarians, and I know a lot of vegans.
Yeah.
And I'd like
It's
to
a
hang.
thing now.
I'd
And,
like to
and honestly,
serve them.
I'd like to hang out with them
I'd
or
like
have
to
a
serve
meal
them.
and break bread together while I'm having my steak. You can have your vegetables, and we
I'll
can
have
do it.
the one item,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's
Right.
not that big
Yeah.
of a sacrifice,
Yeah,
people. Come on,
exactly.
calm down.
Exactly.
And so here's another reality. As hard as it is for me to do it, can I get in the kitchen and do it? Yes. But I obviously, we're trying to grow the business, and so it is very time consuming. And if I look at my mom, which my mom is incredible. Anybody who's been to shop knows that she works with us, and she is the one who prepares all of the food that everyone eats.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You guys have to
Okay.
understand, we
You
produce.
can't do that to mom.
If I were to go to my mom and be like, yeah, mami, tú sabes que hay un jackfruit y aquí está la receta, I think she would throw la chancleta. She would be like, sal de mi cocina ahora mismo, no me vengas con otra idea. Tú me estás escuchando, Rosa. Ni una idea más, por favor.
Yeah, we produce 1,500 pounds of pork every week.
Every week.
1,500?
100. Yeah, you heard me correct. 1,500 pounds of pork every week.
Yeah.
And we do it by hand.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
trying to see. I don't do math.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
If you can
I weigh over
visualize that.
200 pounds. So I'm trying to think like how many me's that would be.
And
And
every
it's
case,
like-
every case
15
that we
meals.
receive
Yeah.
is 75 pounds on average. So you can imagine the amount of cases. We do 20 cases a week. Like it's a heavy amount.
And we
of product.
make it's right. It's not product that's coming to us that is already done.
It's raw.
no, see, that's the
We're
product.
preparing.
Then you got to prepare it.
We have to prepare, we have to marinate it, we have to cure it, we have to do the pickles and the mustard and the cebolla. And it's funny because, when we have a busy week, we'll have our team members that'll come to me and they'll be like, who's going to tell your mom we need more pickles?
Exactly.
Drew the short straw that week.
You don't want to piss mom off.
Hell
Right?
no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
If she sees you dropping a slice of pickle, oh yeah, gracias.
Also, she's dealing with hot things. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
nothing they could fly at you.
She's
Let me
she's
tell you, my mom is 65 years old, should be retired, refuses to retire.
That's
and
not a bad thing.
No, she does circles around the 20 and 30-year-olds
Yeah.
that work with us. We're lucky enough to I have two of my best friends that work with us. A very good friend of ours, Chef Gio, who also joined our team. And
Is that the one that did the paella?
yes,
exactly.
the one that did the
Yeah,
paella,
yeah. He came on board a couple weeks ago as our business development director.
Yeah, and so we have big dreams, and we plan on following them till the end. And so we also have Ruby Badalati always here. She's our store manager. She started with us saying, I'll help you, I'll help you. She was also in law.
Soft spoken.
And she's like, I'll help you, I'll just come in a couple of days, because she knew how difficult it was to find employees. And she's like, I'll give you 2 days out of the week. I'm like, okay. That was 2 years ago, and she's now our store manager. Wow. And Vanessa then, which is our director of events and catering, which is also a division that we want to develop. And she's worked for, the Biltmores and the Ritz-Carltons of the world doing wedding planning and event planning. And so she helped us from the beginning.
Also.
From the first
just
festival.
put a couple hours.
She's like, I'll come in and I'll help you when it's time to do the festivals. And
3 years later.
And 3 years later, she's the director. And it's incredible, to have these people that believed in you when it was just an idea.
And
that they would leave their lucrative jobs to say, I believe in you, and I want to do this with you, and let's do this together.
We all have dreams, right? I think, and the most humbling part of this is that we have a lot of talent, and these people have somewhat like kind of left their careers and the things they wanted to pursue to help us fulfill a dream, and we're doing it together as a team. There's no better representation of family and support than that.
Yeah, and I don't really necessarily think, obviously I know they love me and they want to help me, but I think that says a lot about the industry that we're in. How people come from these jobs, right, these careers, and you come to a hospitality industry that serves. Where growing up, it's kind of like, you'll maybe work at McDonald's, and then you'll be a waiter, through college, and then you'll go on to your career. But here you have people who have careers, who are going backwards, who want to serve, because the idea of serving and the joy that it really brings to serve people and to have that enjoyment with people, and like Danny says, break bread with people, it is something undescribable that I think anyone who hasn't done it will say, well, you just make sandwiches and you're just a waiter, you're just a cashier. But it is so rewarding beyond words.
Rose and I had a conversation, because there's always a seed of doubt, right? Like, this may never work, right? Yeah. Because Calle Ocho is great, but what if we start to expand, and what if things don't go right? Like, these are driving forces for us to do better, but there's always that conversation, like, if this doesn't go well, what do we do? And we look at each other like, we're not going back to what we're doing.
Yeah, I would stay in the hospitality industry.
I would totally.
You guys built something once. You can build it over and over.
Yeah, we can do it again. Yeah,
if you have to, I genuinely believe that. I think you two have this drive, and I say this, number one, because it's true, but also I know when we started, I told you like 20, 30 minutes. We're an hour and a half into this interview, and I'm saying, and it's the word. It's the biggest joke. We always tell everybody like 20 minutes. No, and it's always like 3 hours later.
It's never.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. Like I was telling everybody, I can edit down. I can't edit up. Right. So it's like if I get somebody who's like yes. No. Yeah. Thank you. I'm like, well, that was the 5-minute interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it speaks to what you guys. It speaks to you, right? That you look. I will say it, and we've said it before. Listeners know that we've got our chicken wing, Pim Pam Pollo happening, whatever. You guys are one of the people that we look at as inspiration for pulling that trigger and starting.
That's awesome.
Because I have no background in hospitality or food service or whatever. Darian is a freaking attorney. So we have, quote unquote, no business deciding, we're going to start a chicken wing business. Oh, yeah, during a shortage, by the way. But we do look to people like you guys, because, again, we do know your story. And it's like, you know what? But they did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we want to follow down that path of like, you know what? This is bringing us joy. This is we like it. It's fun. It's
you got purpose.
Yeah, it's ours. Yeah, there's something about, and I'm sure you guys experience this, where you were saying it's a sandwich. Yeah, no. But it's when you give that person their food and they look at it
Right.
And you can see that they're like, whether it's just because they're hungry or they're actually happy or what, it's just, there is something to that. It's the most bizarre thing in the world.
You connect with people in a way that I don't think any other medium gives you, honestly.
Yeah. Especially because it's yours.
I think
You're not working for
said it-
someone's company. It is your product.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's I have a good friend of mine who's a incredible painter, and he says, I love the critics because they think they can describe my painting. He goes, you can't describe a painting. No. It's like trying to describe the food that you're eating. You really can't. It's a feeling. It's something so much deeper than that. And I think that there's this indescribable tone that happens in that transaction, right? When I'm giving someone food and they're crying at my table, and they're telling me, this reminds me of the medianoche my grandmother used to make.
Right.
You can't replicate that. You can't describe that. It's just there.
You can write it down on paper.
You can try, but
No.
it's a feeling.
No,
it's a tick.
It's not the same thing.
It's not. It really
No.
isn't. I think that's the beauty of food, and that's the beauty of doing something. What I feel that we're doing it right. I think that we give a shit. You know, and when you do that, when you're able to tap into that level of our business, I think it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's nice to see so many people in our community really giving a shit, because if you look at the culinary industry in Miami 15, 20 years ago, it was a shadow of what it is today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to see how far we've come and how chefs from all over and local chefs have created such wonderful, incredible cuisine. There's so many amazing places that you can grab a good meal at in Miami today. Yeah. And we should be really proud of ourselves for that, because Miami's come a really long way.
It really, you're right. I agree.
Three Miami natives sitting here, and we know that of which we speak.
Oh, yeah.
And Miami's a great city, we're glad and very happy to be part of that narrative of this like growing, evolving city. And it's crazy to think that, we'd be sitting here at this table talking about a Cuban sandwich company, right, in the city of Miami, but.
I only want to be known as the person who created the best Cuban sandwich in the world. That's all.
Not the best bathrooms?
No, well, that too.
That's because Rosa Sandwich, as we said earlier, is much better than Rosa Bathroom. That's,
it's
sounds
funny.
bettering.
I say that not to, seem snobby, but I was asked that question not that long ago. Like, if you had a legacy, what would it be? And, I was in pageants when I was younger, and I remember always having to have like that perfect answer.
Right.
And so I gave like a really like humble and down to earth answer, something not too full of myself. And then later on that night, I sat there and I said, no, I want to be known for creating the best Cuban sandwich in the world. And I said it,
Damn
and I don't
right.
care what you think. And that's exactly what I want to be known for. So the next time anybody asks me, I know you didn't ask, but I had to say it because now's my chance.
Absolutely. There's a microphone.
Put
Go.
it out there.
It's your platform.
This is going to be the pull quote, by the way. When we
See how she said that
episode,
too? She was like, it came right from her gut.
This is going to be her
This is her minute.
soundbite.
Holding that in. That's exactly the legacy I want to leave behind. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's
no,
shame.
it's
your legacy.
Yes.
I really am like touched by that, right? Because I also feel like I should align myself with that, but I have kids now. And the crazy thing now is that my legacy isn't so much about being the best Cuban sandwich or building the company, which I know we can and we will. But I think my biggest legacy right now is to help my kids understand what it is to sacrifice and to do things that make them happy. And I'm not doing this to pass this on to my kids.
No,
right?
no.
I don't want my kids.
I think we're in agreement.
I have no desire for my kids to take over sandwich.
Right.
Like zero.
If it happens, that's a
then
fluke.
great.
If it
Yeah.
happens,
Right,
that's
right,
fucking
right.
great. But it's
Right.
not. It's not. That's not me. I think
Right.
what Rosa and I have is that we're doing this for ourselves, and that action alone is hopefully an example that my kids will learn to do things for themselves.
Of course it is.
And so my legacy isn't so much about like creating the best Cuban sandwich company. I think my legacy is to empower my kids to do things that they can do.
I think that creating the
Through our
best Cuban
action.
sandwich in the world would be
Not mutually
product.
exclusive, Danny.
Yes.
I'm just saying it
I
could be
mean,
both. Okay.
It could
but-
be both. Like
but-
you
but
do one,
I just
and
think
then
that-
just naturally
I don't
the other
know.
happens.
Exactly.
Your answer is different than mine.
Yeah, you're like a pageant answer. That's exactly what I didn't want. I want to be, my kids will follow.
Touche.
They'll see their mom create the best Cuban sandwich in the world and be like, that's my mom.
That's my mama.
That's it.
I can't think of a better note to end your one than that.
I love it.
Okay, guys. Again, thank you so much. And I know again, like I've been eating there for a bit now, and I can't tell you again, like just honestly, I get so much joy watching you guys succeed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's a bizarre, like I say that a lot, and I think sometimes people look at me kind of like, what do you mean? I'm just like, there's just something about watching people succeed who've put all their dreams into action and are doing it. Like, again, when I saw you guys on CNBC on the Street of Dreams thing, it was like, I paused it and took the picture and because I was like, oh my God, like look
Yes.
at them succeeding and
Yes.
and just being some small part of that, by coming on the show, by letting us eat your damn good sandwiches, like that to me, I wish nothing but infinite success for you guys.
Thank you.
from here
Thank
to come.
you. That fills us with so much joy. You have no idea. We live and breathe for that. And so thank you for being a part of it with us.
Thank you for coming here and into our home and doing this event.
And wanting to listen to our story.
Listen, everybody should, because if you guys can do it, you know what? It just shows that you just gotta put your mind to it, and sometimes you gotta sacrifice, but
Thank
look at the
you.
payoff.
And the crazy thing is that everyone can. Like, you can. And if you believe and you have the right support system, you can.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that Bean Pan Pollo is going to be great.
And on that note, can we go eat some wings?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hungry. So
Hello.
I mean, I've been drinking. I'm hungry, and
I
also,
can have.
and like I said, I've been seeing
I'm on my third beer, guys.
Yeah, and I saw Danny's eyes start to get a little watery, and mine are starting to get a little watery, and so it's like, yeah, it was
Chicken wing will cure all that.
it will cure everything. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.